What if the only thing standing between you and what God told you is you? Hi, friends. It's been a minute, but today we're getting real. I'm talking about fear, perfectionism, past pain, past disappointments, people pleasing, all that stuff that quickly, like, they keep you silent, they muzzle you, they keep you stagnant, they keep you stuck, you're unable to move forward. That's what we're talking about today. If you ever felt stuck, stagnant, silenced, unsure, about to start again, this episode is for you. This is God Conversations, where we're helping you stay God conscious, God aware, one conversation at a time. So let's talk.
This is God Conversations. You're going to be hearing some things. You're going to be hearing us talk about honestly, when you ask God for something, He comes through.
If you haven't subscribed, can you help us grow? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on IG, we're God Conversations GP, and we talk about life, really. And today, I wanted to do like a life update, but I was thinking about what I wanted to kind of have a conversation about. And the first question that honestly jumped to my mind was, what's keeping you from what God's told you? And I realized that it's a question that I have answered, and that's why you guys haven't seen me, because we had like 9 episodes. We did our God story series. We had like 9 episodes of that. Amazing conversations with amazing people. Stories about, God healing people from addiction. The last 2 were people who went through divorce, even though, they didn't think that was ever going to happen to them. But it happened, right? It happened. And life is life. Like, things happen. I think the beautiful thing also is when you're walking with Jesus is to, and this phrase for me has become, I think, what I've been living on or living through, because I finally am owning being a child of God. I am owning it, if you know what I mean. I can beat my chest, like I can thump my chest and say, I am a child of God, and He's going to see me through whatever it is, right? So let me share this quick thing before we even get into it. This weekend, for some reason, my devotional was on Mark 4, and I just like parked there for almost like an hour and a half yesterday morning. And this is the one about the parable of the soil. The word fell on good soil, on soil within thorns, on weed, and blah blah blah. But to the end was when there was a storm, and this is Mark 4, where there was a storm, right? And Jesus was asleep, and the disciples actually, they panicked. And Jesus woke. They went to wake him up and like, Master, do you not care that we perish? Like, this storm is too much. And Jesus says to them, wait, I'm with you and you're still panicking. Like, all the things I've been teaching you since all these days, what happened? Right? It's been going over your head or what? Right? But he turned to the storm and he said, hush. And a lot of us, we need to, at the rumbling of problems, because sometimes these things don't catch us by surprise, right? But at the rumbling, you can see that this is going to be a problem. We need to start saying, hush, be still. That should be our first defense. It's our first default. It should never be, oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh my God, I'm in trouble. No, things like that. Our first defense, and this is something I've known for a while now, but it just was, as I read that scripture, that particular part of the Bible, it was like, if only God's children can own the fact that you are God's child, and He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. Okay? God doesn't move like that. He's not going to mislead you. He's not going to misdirect you. But you have to own it. I'm a child of God. Like I say it. I say like, what? Nothing do me. Right? Like I'm owning that. I'm owning it. It's like something just came over me, and I'm like, I own it. I own it. I beat my chest, and I'm a child of God. There's nothing, no problem that the Lord doesn't have solution for. I remember in worship today, because people, I think majority of people that know me as a worship leader, right? And during worship today, when I lead worship, there's always this I always get into this spontaneous moments, right? Then one of the things I was saying today, because first of all, the Lord has been dealing with me about weights, like people carrying weights, like people need to. Life has become like weighty for people, and you need to take the weight off of your shoulder, because one, you were not meant to carry it, right? You're not meant to carry weight. The Bible says for us to exchange, like because the yoke, Jesus's yoke is light, right? His burdens are light. He encourages us to take on his own yoke, take on his own burden, and not be burdened by life. And I remember just saying, and the words that there is nothing too hard for you. There is nothing too hard for you. So if you're listening to me tonight, that's an encouragement. Own the fact that you're God's child and there's nothing too hard for him to do. But you gotta come. I gotta lay down those weights. Lay down those weights. Lay down. You're not meant to carry them. Okay? I just wanted to get that out there. But let me remind people that I'm live. I was supposed to do it. I forgot again. So as you join me tonight, let me know where you're watching me from. If you're watching the replay, you know what? God bless you. Thank you for even paying attention. But so like tonight, I said that I wanted to give live update, because I've just been, what's the word? I've been just trusting God for things. And I realized that, you know what, you can trust God for things, but if you don't take action on those things, then nothing happens, right? Okay, that's what's up. Let me do. Then nothing happens really. So what's video. So welcome again if you're joining us for the first time. Welcome to God Conversations. We're having conversations that help you stay God conscious, aware, one conversation at a time. On here we're transparent and we're vulnerable. So I think that helps a lot of people to get to where they need to be. And sometimes you can't keep some things to yourself. You think that you're the only one going through things. Truth is, whatever it is you're going through, there are many other people that are going through it, right? So the topic tonight, what's keeping me? What's stopping me from doing the thing that God already told me? Right? So maybe you've been asking the same thing. And maybe you're in this place of where you're stagnant and you're stuck. You feel stuck, right? So again, it's been a while since we've been here. I think it's been like maybe 4 or 5 weeks. And life has been full, ministry, family, transitions, growth, all of it has been happening. They're good. I mean, they're really good. Behind the scenes, I've been working. I've had to confront fears, perfectionism, the weight of, past disappointments. I've had to just I'm at the point again. I want to just catch you up, right? Not just on my schedule, but also on my soul, my right life. So this for me isn't just content. I'm connecting with you. Okay, if you're here for the first time, thank you. For my old friends, hey, thank you for not giving up on me. So, what's holding you back? I think is a question that I finally was able to answer it. And when I answered it, I was able to then put action to it. Okay. So everybody who knows me, I think majority of the people that know me as a worship leader. Right? Maybe some years ago, I started to teach, right? I became a pastor, so I started to teach. And I remember someone say, oh my God, I didn't know that you could teach well. And I'm like, wait, you think worship leaders don't know the word? You think we're only meant to sing? Also, that's neither here nor there. So people know me as that. And I have had, let me tell you, countless prophecies, but that it got to a point where I felt like I was collecting prophecies, right? Because they were the same things. I felt like I was collecting them. And to me, it was like nothing was happening. So that's another thing. Prophecies are not meant to be collected. They are meant for you to work on them. They're meant for you to pray through them until you start to see, right? So I remember I grew up in Nigeria, and I remember I gave my life to Christ really, really, right out of high school. So 16, 17. And I remember the church that I was in, we used to be at a cinema house. It was called Super Cinema. It was one of the largest, biggest cinema houses then in Surulere, if you are from that side in Lagos. and we were on a prayer line, and the minister looked at me and said, "Oh my God, I'm looking at you, and people are going to hear your voice all over the world." But that didn't make sense to me then, because I hadn't even joined the choir or whatever. Must have been like a year before I even joined. So and that's the thing. I remember that this today. I remember that I got that word before I even joined, and he told me, you're going to sing at stadiums, you're going to sing to crowds, and you're going to do this and that and that and that. So eventually, I joined the choir, and that did happen. I sang at a studio, at a stadium, at a massive crusade. I think it was Bishop Idahosa that came at that time. It was a massive, massive crusade. As a matter of fact, that was the last day, the day I ministered. My stepmother was in the crowd. She came to be prayed for healing. And anyway, so fast forward, I get married, we leave Nigeria, we come to the US. A week after I came to the US, I'm introduced to this church where I stayed for 10 years, and I was there. I became the choir director, and then I became the minister in charge of the choir. There's a story here, right? So I stayed there for 10 years, but I can tell you that in those 10 years, coupled with the how many years I was in Nigeria in the choir, I was not growing. I was operating on gift. This girl can sing, this girl has a voice. That was what I was operating on, you know. And fast forward again, I left that church because there was a hunger that was now growing, and they could not feed that hunger. And that's the thing. Sometimes you want to be loyal to a place, right? Don't be loyal to a place. Be loyal to God. God is the only one that you owe loyalty. So if you're not growing somewhere, you're doing yourself a disservice by staying there. Spiritually, you're not going to grow, right? And when you're not growing spiritually, you cannot exhibit the fruits of the spirit. And honestly, I think that's why there's a lot of bickering and there's a lot of infighting in some churches, because people have outgrown there. What you're being fed there is you have outgrown whatever food they're feeding you there. It's like a 15-year-old still being fed with milk. There's going to be problems, right? So eventually I couldn't stay anymore. I knew that I had outgrown the place. I just wanted to know how to live. I wanted to live on I was trying to say, okay, I want to live um on a good note, right? On a good footing. But eventually that didn't happen, right? A lot of things. And again, because I was not spiritually growing also, the fruit of the spirit, I didn't have patience for anyone. I was always angry. There was always something. Like I had no patience for shenanigans, which is what happens when people are not growing anymore, right? So I left and I came to my home church. And I remember when I came to my home church, I was this broken, beaten down, everything. Financial things were not working. Like financial, just name it. I was depressed. I was all kinds of just not right. For me to say, that I want to stay in a place and be able to serve. So I came to my new church, my home church now. I came and for the first 3 months that I came, I just sat in the congregation, and I just wanted to be filled because I'd been pouring out. And the thing also is that I was pouring from an empty place. But people didn't know. Like, that's the thing. People did not know. In fact, in all of those years that I was there, I almost gave up on Christianity. I almost left. I almost said bye bye. Like, if this is Christianity, then I don't want any part of it. Until I met a lady. I went to minister in our church, and something happened where I think I just had a baby, and I was wearing this. What I was wearing, in hindsight, it wasn't revealing. I guess because it showed my shape and all that. And the visiting pastor went to the pastor that invited me and was going off. Why would you let her minister like that? I think of me now. I'm still raw. Like I'm depressed, but I'm still showing up. I'm still smiling. I'm still doing what I'm expected to do. You're a worship leader. They invite you to come and minister somewhere. You have to go. You're honoring God. When you see, when you're invited somewhere, you're supposed to be serving God. But when you're invited somewhere and you're doing it with anger, you're doing it with a reluctance, you don't want to be around these people. What do you think that you are pouring on them? What do you think that you're pouring on them? Exactly. Like, what is it that you think that you're pouring on them? Because it's not life. It's like dust, like fumes at best. And that night was the day I knew God loved me, and he would go. That was my he left the 99 to go after the one moment for me, because she called me into her office. And this woman, when she started to talk to me, she held my hand and she was rubbing my hand. That I always It was like a counseling, but at the same time scolding, right? You shouldn't wear stuff like this. And first she said, "What's going on? Are you okay?" I almost, like, I didn't know where the scolding, like I couldn't decipher. I couldn't differentiate the scolding and the correction. That was the day I saw correction in love. She scolded me, but it wasn't a scolding of telling you off. Like, we would never invite you because I've seen that also, where people think, oh, that's part of how we're supposed to correct people. But the way she corrected, till today, everywhere I see that woman, I honor her. I honor her because I was done. My thing was, after that night, I took my kids. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this again. So that's what brought me back, right? So fast forward again. Now I'm in my church. There's been countless prophecies, but you know what was keeping me in my case, and which I didn't realize. I did not realize how timid I was. I was so timid that, the man at the well, or what, I can't remember the well, that had to be, that said he was waiting for someone to push him into the well. That was me. That was me. People were jumping into things, and I'm like, oh, I start and I stop. Because I had all these thoughts. Who's going to listen to you, right? Who's going to listen to you? And even I had to fight doubt. I had to fight like, it was a fighting. I got to the point where I had to talk to myself. I would actually sit down and talk to myself. Even for God conversations to start. It started during COVID, and then it just fizzled out, because again I got timid and I got scared, and I was like, there's so many other podcasts that are out there. Who wants to listen to you? And then I started, and I saw that, listen, just go. And then I think it was last year, I was on a live Instagram program with a friend of mine, and he brought people. There was a 7-day thing, and every night he would bring somebody to talk to us, right? And on I think it was the third or fourth night, he brought this guy, Toby Arayomi. And I mean, he said so many things that night. And then he tells him to pray, to pray for everybody so that we can leave, because we had been on for almost an hour and a half. And this man, he starts to pray, and the next thing I heard my name. And he says to me, God is saying you're one fear away from what I've called you to do. I decided to say things, write, keep writing, keep teaching. I decided to just say all these things that I don't know this man from Adam. I've heard of him. I've heard of his twin, who's in I think Houston or Texas now, Prophet Tommy Arayomi. And again, so this is 2 years ago. So I wrote all those things down again. I always do. I wrote them down, and once in a while I'll go back and I'll read it and I'll pray. And then this year, as we came into this year, there was this boldness that I started to operate on. And I think it was me even praying into it. Like, I kept saying, Lord, there's so much that you've given to me. There's so much. And I don't think that I am functioning optimally as I could. And I started to say, Lord, expose, I need, what do I need to do? I need, what, I know the things that you have. I've written them down. So I know that I hear you, but how? It was now the how. Because I'd written all these things down. It was now the how. And I went somewhere, somewhere the rumblings of, okay, worship leaders, serve worship leaders started to come. And I'm like, serve worship leaders, how do I do that? How do I do that? What do I need? And I can tell you, as I'm sitting down now, from that, the Holy Spirit has just been guiding my steps on the movement, on the how. Like it's showing me the how, what to do, how to do it. First thing, I would always see people who coach, but I never saw someone who could give me what I needed. I joined coaching program. I joined, all those challenges, 5-day challenge, 3-day challenge, but I would never, I never found one that met my need. I never found. So I just said, Lord, you know what? If you want me to do, if this is you giving me this, because I had to narrow down to what it was in this season that the Lord had for me. Right? I had to narrow it down because sometimes because we're all trying to we're trying to juggle 1,600 things at once. You can't. You can't. It's almost like I said, Lord, give me, like, narrow my vision to the exact thing that I should be pursuing now. Right? So I started a coach. I started a coaching. I started coaching. I got a coach who's walking me through things. So where I am now is it led me. So like I said before, a lot of people know me as a worship leader. I have a lot of worship leaders that I mentor. So the Lord started to I started to get like this thing of you need to pour into other worship leaders. You need to pour into other worship leaders. And so I said, okay, again, how? What does that look like for me to pour into other worship leaders? What does it look like for me to coach other worship leaders? Now, this coaching thing, someone gave me a word maybe 5 years ago, right? So I started to say, okay, what is that? And so I had gone to a program, yearly equip conference, and I remember leaving home and I said, Lord, if you want me to do this, right, I need confirmation because I don't want to jump into this thing. And someone walks up to me the first night. Someone walks up to me and says, "Can you mentor me?" And I'm looking at, I'm just looking at it like, oh, I know I told you to confirm, but does it have to be that? Right? And that journey. And so everything that has happened, it was a lot, was just orchestrating things. It gave me an opportunity to teach, do like a 1 month worship leading class, like a mastering worship leading class. And in that time, I'm in the process of developing a course for worship leaders. You see where I'm going? But I had to come to the point. I had to understand what that was that God was telling me to do. I had to narrow it down. And once I did, I now had to walk with the Holy Spirit with the how. I think where we miss it. One, we might hear the word, we might hear the prophecy and start running with that without the how, right? We hear it, we write it down, and then we just start running. We don't wait for the how. And what I did was which I've done, right? I've done countless times. But because now I was just now reversed to, Lord, I'm not doing this without you. And because I had now also given him room, almost a room to lead me, like I wouldn't do anything. And I found out it's not hard. The reason why we think things are hard is because we don't even start, and when we start, we're trying to do it on our own. So again, what is keeping you from what God told you? In my case, what kept me was timidity. For years I was timid, but I would also be the one that was cheering people on. Right? I would also be the one that was cheering people. I'll be your biggest cheerleader. But when it came to me, I was so timid. Like I let fear just take things from me. And looking back now, I see, I'm looking back and I see, the thing is that there can be prophecies and all that. But unless you walk with the Lord to show you the how of the prophecy, it's going to just lay there and nothing will happen. So backtracking again. So months ago, a friend of mine went to a prophetic conference and all of a sudden I'm seeing, because she's telling me, you should have been here, because we planned it, but I forgot. And so I didn't register on time. And she kept saying, you should have been here. Oh my God, you should have been inside there talking to you. Because she knows my story, right? She knows my fear and all that. And so she sent me a word, and that week I woke up, and one of the things the Lord had told me that morning was, you're not late. Because I woke up, here's the thing. Me and the Holy Spirit were like, I got up, and all of a sudden, it was early morning, right? I just got up and I was like, I think I asked myself because I said, Gladys, I think you're late. Oh my God. And I'm like, the things that God told you to do that you slept on, or you were too scared, you were too insecure, like you were too timid. And I'm trying to beat myself up, and I heard it very gently. And he said, you are not late. You are not late. You are not too old. You're not late. And that was that same week that my friend sent me that she wrote it down. She sent it as a text. She said the first line was, "You are not late." And I just almost broke down when she said that, because it was just confirmation, right? So again, what is stopping you? What is stopping you? I think one of the things that I had was fear of not being good enough. Like somebody else is doing it better. Why would anybody want to listen to me? Right? That was one of the things that stopped me. Insecurity stopped me. Perfectionism. Like I would record something, and when I go to edit, I will be editing, trying to find the perfect one. By the time I get the perfect one, I've already lost interest. I end up I don't even post it. So now part of the boldness that came now is I get an idea that you could talk about something for a minute, you could talk about something for 50 seconds. I just record and I do it and I post it, and I'm gone, right? So you have to you have to find things that propel you, things that don't, where you don't allow things to pull you back, things that push you forward. I'm telling you now, what I feel, what boldness I have now, I feel like a child on a skateboard and going full what's that word? Throttle, right? I feel like that. And I know I'm happier, right? Because I was feeling stuck. I was feeling like I was stagnant. But one of the things that was also helping was getting in the word. Oh my God, like getting in the word. Like don't joke with the word. Don't joke with the Bible. Everything that you need is in the word. Everything you need is in the word, and you can study. Look, we're in the age of Chat GPT. What is it that you want to know? Tell Chat GPT to research it for you. Do a deep dive on whatever it is. It's in the Bible. You'll be amazed. That's how some of my Bible study come up. I see a word and I just go to Chat GPT in relation to blah 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 blah. Find this for me, or do a deep dive for me. And that's the thing, because you have to stay connected. You have to stay connected. You have to stay so connected to God that doubt and fear and insecurity, that they don't have a place, right? I also realized that God didn't ask me for perfection, right? All he needs is my obedience. All he needs is my surrendered heart. All he needs is for me to realize and own the fact that God is for me. And so when confusion tries to creep in, I know what to do. I just, I'm doing something, I'm trying to do something and it's all working. In Gladys, the pre-bold, the timid Gladys would have been like, oh my God, this thing's not working, and I'll be depressed the rest of the day. Now I know to say, Holy Spirit, this thing's not working. Maybe this is not how I'm supposed to do. So I step away from it for like an hour. Sometimes I step away from an idea for days, but eventually it will come. What I need to do will come. So again, I'm asking you, what is stopping you? And this perfectionism again is another thing, because it says it's not ready, right? I'm not ready. But what is it that you need to be ready? How ready can you be? So remember, God didn't call you to perfection, right? All he needs is obedience. He gave you what he gave you. He gave you the word, or he gave you the instruction, or he gave you a vision, or whatever it is. The next thing you need to say or ask is, Lord, how? Lord, how? I remember some of the prayers that I prayed. In fact, before I met my coach, one of the prayers that I prayed was, Lord, okay, you have given me this thing. How are we going to do it? And one of the prayers that I prayed was, Lord, I need you to bring people that are going to hold my hand. I need people, because what he gave me, there was no way I was going to be able to do it on my own. It was going to take more time, right? It was going to take more time. So, and sometimes we're looking for free, right? We're looking for free stuff. Some of the things that the Lord has given you, you can't find help free. You're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have to pay for it. And this was some of the things that was stopping me before. Because when I would hear what somebody was paying, ask him to be a coach, I'm like, what? And some of the ones I actually even paid for, they did nothing for me. So even in your choice of the how, a lot is going to come your way. You have to still say, Holy Spirit, which one is it? Which one do I need? Because what I'm doing now, I'm telling you, somebody, I joined the community and I was told you can't do this. Watch what you hear. Watch what you hear with what God has told you. Guard it. Watch what you hear. So, don't try to please people. What will people say? Fear of judgment. It can be really paralyzing. What are people going to say? There are other people that are doing this thing. Oh my God, I'll tell you something. God told me something one morning, and before I woke up to the fact that when God gives you something, He gives you what you do with it is your own problem, right? And He had given me that. It was a word, and it was like, and I felt like I was supposed to do like a live thing with it, or even like an IG reel, and I didn't. I didn't. And 2 days later, you know who I saw was talking about it? Tasha Cobbs. Tasha Cobbs. What that showed or proved to me was like what God is telling you. He's also telling other people, right? You're not the only one. It's not exclusive. There's some things that the Lord does, and it's not exclusive to you. But what do you do with it? What do you do with it? In what you asking that question, what do you do with it? I want to segue into this. So I was on, I think it was IG or Facebook, one of it, and there was a woman who was she was doing a vlog on her journey. I think she had lost use of her leg, right? She couldn't walk. To get out of bed was a problem. When she got up, like the leg just gave out, right? It took a while. It was a struggle to get up. And when I saw it, it just brought up a memory of when I ended up in hospital with my kidneys shutting down. One of the deficits was my leg. I almost lost use of my leg. When I had to almost learn how to walk again. They were thinking, I was going to have to go to physiotherapy. I was going to have to learn how to walk again. But thank God that as quick as I went down with that sickness, the Lord was so merciful to me. As quick, I was in the hospital maybe less than 10 days, and they didn't know. There was a lot. That's the episode for another day. But I had to learn how to walk again. And when I saw that and that picture came to my mind, I said, God, it even propels me now to not sit on what God has told me to do. It propels me now to not sit on what God has told me to do. So one of the things in the season that the Lord is telling me, as giving me opportunity to do, is to pour into other worship leaders. So we do have the God Conversations page, but I had a Gladys Oshofison worship page, which has now become the Worship Leader Studio. Because, like I said before, in this season, the Lord is leading me to pour into worship leaders, veterans, seasoned, whether you're starting new. So if you know any worship leader, point them to that page. It's the Worship Leader Studio. And again, it's the how, right? Is the how. Oh my God, this episode today is like just testimony of how when you walk with God and you're listening, you're intentional about what He's telling you to do, you'll be amazed how easy things become. You'll be so, so amazed. And so I'm sitting at my desk that morning and I'm thinking, I started to think, okay, now that I'm going to go pouring out to worship leaders, I need to rebrand the Gladys Oshofison page. So I'm like, but I don't know what to call it. I don't know what to call it. So I started to research. And you can't just take a name and brand. You have to find whether there's somebody else is using it, whether it's already registered and all that. And so I started to research, and the Worship Leader Studio, it was just, there. I was pulled to it. So I started to do research again. Can I change my IG page name, or do I need to create another one? Can I do that? Anyway, I decided, I prayed. But it wasn't a long prayer because the Holy Spirit was always saying, that's the one. That's the one. So now I'm like, okay, I need to get a domain name. But then the other thing was, so I tried to search, right? I started to search for the domain name. So I was looking all over. to see whether it was still available. And so I spoke to my husband. He was like, stop searching, because there's an algorithm out there that there are people who take domain names, right, and reset to resell. So if you keep searching, that algorithm knows and they know to grab that name and it may not be available for you when you need it. And by the time I'm talking to him about it, right, I had done the search almost 10 times. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I need to start looking for another name because the worship leader studio is probably not available anymore. So the next morning, I go on. So there are different websites that you can buy domain. You can find domain names. So I went to. I use Namecheap for my other website. So I went to Namecheap. I put it there. Lo and behold, Worship Leader Studio was right there. Even on Instagram, Worship Leader Studio was free, was everything. So that just confirmed I am where I need to be in this season of my life. I'm where I need to be. Right? So again, what's stopping you? What's stopping you? Right? And I don't want to, I said that God isn't looking for perfect. He's looking for obedience. So what does obedience look like? For me in this season, obedience looks like me recording this episode when I almost talked myself out of it. It looks like believing that done in faith is better than perfect in fear. I'm doing it in faith. It's better than, I want to be perfect, but I'm doing it. I'm afraid. And I'm afraid to even do anything. And obedience means learning new things. You learn how to edit. You learn how to do things. But even before you master the edit, just still give up to put out what you have. Still put out what you have. Honestly. And so maybe you're stuck. Maybe God gave you a vision, a song, a story, a mess, whatever it is, my friend, and you paused. You paused out of fear. You paused out of insecurity. You paused out of fatigue, because that's the thing. You paused out of uncertainty. God still wants to use you. You're not late. You're not late. You're not out of time. You just need to return to the one who called you. My story, my life story is, at this moment in this season, is I've narrowed down what it is the Lord is asking me to do in this season, and then I ask him the how, and as it shows me the how, I'm following the how. And it's not hard. It's not hard. You know when they say God is involved? When God is involved, it's literal. God is involved and he's showing you the how, he's showing you the what, and you don't forget. You don't forget. Because the irony of it is when you drag, you drag your feet, like, oh my God, I don't know where the, it's that's where all the fatigue comes from. Because when you now want to go back to, unless it's not something the Lord asks you to do. But if he asks you to do, and that's my experience, if he asks you to do it, even when you struggle, there is solution. You will know, you will know to go back to him and ask him, Lord, how do I do this? What's this? What are we supposed to be doing here? And that's the thing. That's the thing. So don't be afraid to step out. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't let insecurity, don't let fear of the unknown, don't let overthinking, oh my God, don't let that stop you. Don't let other people are already doing it. Why would I? Don't let it. Another thing for me was I felt like I was in a crowd and I was trying to get noticed, and I kept feeling like somebody was pushing my head down. Like they were like, stay down. Stay down, stay down. That's what I felt at that time. And once it was, again, it was just a realization that if the Lord gave me this thing to do, I'm not worried about. I think the other thing, okay, when the Lord gives you something to do, you can't worry about, what's going to happen when I'm done with it. Don't you think that him who gave you the vision and everything, do you think that the people who need that product, the people who need that story, the people who need that book, the people who need that song, the people who need that business, don't you think that they're waiting for you? They're waiting. They're waiting. Don't be stuck on how am I going to do it, that you forget to ask the one who gave it to you, how do we do this? So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys, right? Again, this is God Conversations, where we stay God conscious, God aware, one conversation at a time. And if today's episode spoke to you, share it with someone, right, who might need the reminder that you're not stuck forever, right? You are stuck until you get the understanding of what you're supposed to be doing and you follow with action. right? So you're not stuck and you're waiting for a sign to move. Now is the time to move. Now is the time to move. All right. So I will see you next time. Thank you for joining me. I have so enjoyed myself. So put a comment. How has this episode served you? Did it give you value? Did it bring value to you? And again, you are not stuck. You are not stuck. You think you're stuck because you don't know which way to turn. But the same God who gave you that vision, whatever it is the same one who's going to show you the how. All right? Okay. So stay blessed until I see you next time. Bye.